Lindsey Graham says Israel will have to accept two-state solution to normalize ties in Arab countries. He emphasized the necessity for Israel to accept some form of two-state solution to recognize Israel in order to normalize ties with Saudi Arabia and other Arab countries. He also stressed the importance of security buffers for Israel, stating Israel will demand security buffers they've never demanded before because they can't afford another October 7th. Graham expressed support for the Biden administration approach, noting that they are trying to revive the normalization efforts, and I think they're right to do so. He acknowledged the need for Israel to do more to limit civilian deaths while highlighting the challenging situation where schools, hospitals are located. Graham warned that failure to address the situation effectively would lead to another generation of just tit-for-tat death. Thoughts?
With all due respect, Graham, I cannot remind you enough how many times Israel has tried to compromise with a two-state solution. So let me just read the facts because I don't speak on emotion. 1936 Peel Commission, Israel accepted, Palestinians rejected. 1947 UN partition plan, rejected, and then the Arab Leagues waged a war the next day that led to the alleged Nakba of displacement because they said, get out of here, let's kill all the Jews and you'll take the land back the next day. 1967 Khartoum Resolution, rejected by the Palestinians. 2000 Camp David Summit, Arafat and Ehud Barak, rejected by the Palestinians. 2005, we tried to compromise. Israel withdrew from Gaza. It could have been the biggest, beautiful resort on the beach and the best piece of land that they had to offer. Instead, they turned it into a terrorism haven. 2008, Ehud Olmert offered a Palestinian state, and it was once again rejected. And we've seen what the Palestinian territories have turned into. So that is my reminder to you. Secondly, to address the civilians, horrible. I've seen videos horrible from October 7th. I've seen videos of casualties on the Palestinian side, and it's been very hard to sleep at night seeing both. But tell me, what do you do when nurseries and preschools and hospitals are Hamas headquarters? What do you do in that instance? Do you retreat and be like, well, you know, there's a lot of people in there, so let's just wait till October 7th turns into December 7th or January 7th. What is the right thing to do to, like, combat this? And we've seen enough proof. It's not anymore an allegation. We've seen the tunnels under the hospitals. We've seen literal nursery cribs that you lift it and there are missiles being fired from under. So instead of putting pressure on Israel to stop targeting civilians, which they are not doing, why don't we globally put more pressure, which sounds like an oxymoron because Hamas is a terrorist group, but put pressure on Hamas to stop using civilians as human shields? You know, everyone's saying, oh, Israel needs to get the hostages back. No, Hamas needs to release the hostages. Israel needs to stop targeting civilians. Hamas needs to stop using civilians as shields. They're always looking at the wrong side of it. Israel's never to blame. I'm sorry. Israel's been doing the most moral thing that I've ever seen. I've never seen an army release pamphlets announcing when they're attacking. I've never seen that. Where was October 7th's pamphlets? Hey, we're about to rape your family and burn you. Where was those pamphlets? But instead, no, Israel's the bad guys. And listen, death is death, and it's horrible, but all of the blame is to be put on Hamas. Every single life that has been taken is Hamas's fault.
But the response, Emily, like, mind you, I was in the military, Pat was in the military, and I understand when, obviously, Hamas, horrible, we need to get rid of them. That's a no-brainer. Terrorists, goodbye. But the response, I think they're at 20,000 dead right now, 9,000, 8,000 children. The tactic of just going in there bombing, because I think it's unattainable goal to be like, we are not going to stop until Hamas is dead. How do you keep track? There's not a number. They're not wearing T-shirts that say terrorists.
Right.
And I get it. It's freaking difficult. But, like, what's the number of civilians that are going to die? Because if they could tell us, like, a tally, okay, there's, 40,000. How many Hamas soldiers are there? 40?
Who knows?
Hamas
I don't know.
40K,
But Pat, there's no way to know how many you're killing. So my thing is, like, is it killing all? Like, we're not going to stop killing everybody until we find every single Hamas soldier's dead. You can't get it. You can't get that number. And those bombs don't affect the ones that Israel's dropping. They don't affect tunnels. I know they were talking about filling the tunnels up with water. And at the end of the day, tactically, you think Hamas, once they did October 7th, they're just hanging around in Gaza? No, the majority of them are gone. They all left. So it's like, there's no winning in this situation, but and this is my thing from the beginning. It's the children. It's the 8 to 9,000 children. And this is the misconception that a lot of people out there talk shit. You can be pro-Palestinian kids not dying and not be a supporter of Hamas. That shit drives me bananas because I see people saying that stuff. If you care about the kids, you support Hamas. There has to be a tactical shift where it's not just bomb, 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 because we got to get rid of Hamas. That's my attitude.
I want to not combat that because what you said is absolutely correct. But there's two sides to this. I don't want to start playing whataboutism, but can I just point out how many rockets a day are sent to Israel, where if Israel did not have an Iron Dome, our death count would be 1,000 times that. Every single day. I was just in Israel. I got back last night. Every single day running to the bomb shelter. Every single day, multiple times a day. Imagine each of those rockets hit. Do you think they would do it? They would do it 10 times more if we didn't have the Iron Dome. So thank God we have it. Our death count, by our, I mean Israel, is going to be tenfold what we just saw for that. And I'm not justifying it. It's wrong. So I actually would like to ask you guys, what is the right thing to do? Let Hamas be because they're using civilians as human Like, what is the right answer? I don't have it. You don't have it.
No.
You made a very eloquent list. You talked about 1936, 47, 67, 2000, 2005, 2008, and you made a very eloquent list there. And some of that is not visible to the casual citizen, but most people know about the 1967 war, also known as the Six-Day War. This was a coalition. Let's just look at the accuracy of history. They're trying to negotiate armistice agreements, and the coalition of Arab states engaged in a war against Israel. And what happened there was humiliating to them. Syria lost the Golan Heights. The West Bank was lost by Jordan. The entire Sinai Peninsula was lost by Nasser of Egypt. And new borders were set up. And at the end of it, Israel said, the new border is here and I don't trust you. So we need to also go back and look at history and how the coalition of Arab states tried a north, east, and west pinch because they wanted to eradicate the state. And Israel, armed with U.S. support and U.S. weaponry, which was superior, as they found out, to the Soviet crap they were using, says that's what happened at the end of it. So if you want to study history, America, go look at the 1967 war and look what happened there and look what the result was. The result was you wanted to destroy me and eliminate me, but I pushed you back and took some of your place. We're now going to call that like a buffer zone. And that is where, listen to all those territories, the Golan Heights, the West Bank, Gaza, and Sinai. Those have been disputed areas and areas of tension since 1967. Let's remember what happened and why the borders were changed.
I'd also like to add to that I don't even think it's ever been about land. I mean, 1927, the Hebron massacres where 57 Jews were slaughtered. Israel was not even established yet. So you can't be like, oh, well, I want death to the Zionists because Zionism wasn't a thing at the time. So I think this just goes back to a bigger problem than land. I don't think it's ever been about land. It'll never be about land. I think the land is a means to justify Jew hatred, which is a very unpopular opinion. But if you look at history, that's what it shows you.
My point, there was a coalition here that was the end result.
Right.
If land was taken. That was the end result. But the point was there was a coalition of Arab states that wanted to pinch and eradicate Israel. Period.
Yeah.
And can I ask one question, Pat?
While armistice agreements were trying to be negotiated in bad faith.
If you don't mind, Pat, because I want to ask you, Emma, you just got back from Israel. So it's been, 74 days since the attack? You know what I mean? They came in, they did their thing. We still haven't gotten any answers. I want to know if are Israelis talking about how? I remember John Kirby came out 5 days after the attacks, and they're like, how could this happen there? And his answer was, now's not the time. It's been 74 days. We're getting all these reports. The Wall Street Journal or the Times reported that Israel had a report called the Jericho Wall they found that they knew it was going to happen a year in advance. I'm just wondering how, because obviously we don't want something like that to happen again.
Of course.
Have they strengthened? Have they figured out? Are the people asking questions of how something like this could happen? And meaning we don't want it to happen again. But how does this failure of intelligence happen on 9/11, happen in Pearl Harbor? What are we doing to have it not happen again? Because then when you ask questions, they're like, now's not the time. But 10 years down the road, everything's said and done. Then they're going to be like, oh yeah, we've effed up here, we effed up here. And is anybody held accountable?
I mean, I think the answer is simple. Israel failed. Intelligence failed. The army was negligent in a sense that, I mean, from what I've heard, not any official reports, is that they really undermined and underestimated what Hamas was capable of. They thought they had it under control, and allegedly they had these reports, but they didn't have a time and a date. And they're like, oh, well, we have them. We're good. We have control over Gaza and we know exactly what's happening and no one's going to do this to us. And then when it happened in such a high number of Hamas terrorists infiltrating at once from different directions, I think the IDF was so overwhelmed, and that's why the casualties were beyond something Israel has ever seen. So the short answer is they failed. As a country, as a nation, as a government, in every single sense they failed. And I will say that as the biggest Zionist on the planet. Like, they messed up.
But the reality is this. If a terrorist wants to attack, no matter how big or how small the terrorism act is, they're going to figure out a way. Whether they came in and they killed one person on a kibbutz or whether they came in and drove.
Right, they deal with that every day.
This is literally what terrorists do. What's the definition of terrorism? It is the purposeful killing of innocent civilians.
For political agenda.
For any agenda.
And it's such a way to create fear of other things happening.
So what's my point? This is what they do. They wake up. This is what they're planning for. So there was a massive intelligence failure, massive army failure, IDF, everything you want to go with that. So for me, it's not how and why did this happen. It fucking happened. But here's the reality, and like we're gonna see how this plays out over the next several months. There's gonna be people telling Israel, "Go for them all, kill them all." There's gonna be people saying, "No more innocent lives." I get the entire argument. I've been to Israel. I've literally been partying in Tel Aviv when I had to go shelter in place in a bomb shelter because what are these sirens going off? Are we in a club right now? No, there's missiles coming from Syria right now or Lebanon right now or Hamas right now. All right, cool. I guess I can't party more. Cool. Because Tel Aviv, if you've never been there, it's like if New York and Miami and the Middle East had a baby. It's a great place.
It's awesome.
For me, it comes down to this. Where do we all go from here? After the dust settles, literally, and the war is over, what will Hamas and Gaza do? Not even Hamas, because we've all recognized Hamas can no longer be the leaders of the Palestinian state, whether it's Fatah or PA or whoever comes in there. They're going to be given a choice, like they've been given a choice multiple times before. The international community, the UN, Qatar, whoever ends up, they're going to send them what? Billions of dollars. And they have a choice. Do you want to build tunnel systems of terror or do you want to be the next Dubai? The choice is yours. If I'm me, you know what Israel wants? They want them to be Dubai. Go be the Dubai of the Mediterranean. We wish you luck. We want GDP. We want happiness. We want success. We want much nachas for you.
A trading partner.
We want, exactly. And that, you know who will benefit from that? The Palestinian people, the Israeli people. But under Hamas's rule, imagine being ruled by ISIS. Imagine being ruled by Al Qaeda.
I feel
How's
so
that working out for the people in Afghanistan being ruled for the Taliban? Jews actually empathize with what they're going through. They're under Islamic militant command, so much so that the people that run the West Bank, the PA, Mahmoud Abbas, they literally can't even go into Gaza. Why? You ask, why wouldn't the people that run the West Bank, the political organization, PA, why can't they go into Gaza? Because Hamas would kill them. They've done it before. Once they were elected in 2006, they were throwing Fatah off the roofs. So my wish, my prayer is that somehow, some way, the Gazans, specifically the people of the West Bank, would say, guys, listen, here's the reality. We've tried to overthrow Israel and take the land, river to the sea 12 times. I got bad news for you guys. They're not going anywhere. Where are they going? Okay, so let's try to figure out a way for us to have success. But the problem is this. In order to have peace, you need to have a peace partner. The whole joke in Israel is, Israel wants peace. What does Hamas want? They want peace too. The problem is they want a piece of you over here and they want a piece of you over there. You can't negotiate with terrorists. We've heard that 1 billion times. How do you negotiate with someone that literally will not negotiate with you? Because in their charter, the founding fathers of Hamas, the great leaders that they are, they want to exterminate all Jews. How do you negotiate with that?
Well, how do you, here's the thing. You're never going to get rid of Hamas. And what's happening right now, they're multiplying. All the 2 million displaced and all the 8,000 kids dead. Guess what? The ones that are surviving and leaving, guess what they're going to become? The most Israel-hating people. Adam,
exactly, it's perpetuating violence. So, Vinny, you were in the Army.
Air Force.
You were in the Air Force. Okay, you were in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Look, give me a military solution here. Go ahead. You've been in the military.
Well, first of all, Adam, I want to just say, okay, the horrible situation, we're just going to flatten it, and guess what? Even if you tell people knocking on their door, hey, you guys have to leave, where are they going to go at?
No, but I'm asking. I'm not even being facetious. Give me a military solution.
I'm happy you said that. The first thing I would have done, number one, secure Israel. Make sure whoever effed up, it doesn't happen again. And I wanted everybody accountable. I don't give a shit if it was Netanyahu who is on camera saying, you know what? We can do whatever the hell we want. This is a horrible look from. We can do whatever we want to Palestine. America they'll just back us.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Hold on, not a good look. Number one,
check. Totally agree with you. That's done.
Number two, not just indiscriminately bomb the shit and flatten Gaza and kick everybody out. No, you don't do that. You get a plan and you tactically go after these assholes. You go in the tunnels. You do this. You don't just go bomb and sorry. You go in there. You send special forces. You don't think the IDF and the Israelis have
this isn't World War II. This isn't World War II or Vietnam where we just carpet bomb. I don't think the bombing is indiscriminate.
Hold on. You know how many bombs they've dropped on Gaza?
Quantity of bombs.
Do you know how many bombs were sent to Israel?
No, I understand, but guys,
everything you're saying is correct. But what Emily just said is important. Do you know that they're still shooting missiles into Israel
every day?
Nobody's complaining about the bombs that are being dropped on Israel. It's only the bombs in Gaza.
You think
they're not carpet bombing? They have an agenda and they have a schedule. And I've never seen an army that tweets what they're doing day by day. Go to IDF Twitter and read it.
But those kids aren't reading tweets. They're just children that are like, oh shit, what we're gonna do? And they're displaced.
It's not for the children. It's for the world to understand. We're not carpet bombing Gaza. We're trying to erase Hamas.
I'm not saying carpet bombing, but they're bombing a lot. Have you guys seen?
Well, you said indiscriminate, and I don't think that's a fair representation.
Okay, Adam.
I know you're revved up, but that part's not a fair representation.
Do you know though? You know where Hamas is hiding? The majority of these guys are underground. The bombs that we're dropping on them, guess what? They're not affecting these tunnels. So Adam, you might
wait a minute. I've seen very detailed video of how they launched into tunnels, the explosives and everything, and you can see the manhole covers and the next levels.
You didn't see a bomb drop some. They're putting stuff inside the tunnels to blow the tunnels up. But back to my point, Adam. You secure.
Well, you said they weren't affecting the tunnels, and I pointed out
the bombs are, Tom. That you going in and placing explosives in the tunnels to blow those tunnels up. That wasn't a missile hitting.
That's not a
bomb.
Effective strategic.
Okay, can I get back to my point? My point is you secure Israel so it never happens again, and there has to be a better tactical plan, Adam, to go in and find Hamas, which is, I get it. It's a freaking difficult
So let me ask you one more question, and then I'm sure Emily will respond. Everything you're saying is correct. Believe me, I don't know one Jew that's like, let's kill them all. Zero. You don't think they could just kill 2 million people? Okay, whether the number's 10,000, 20,000, whether it's Hamas, right. It's hard to distinguish because the UN's getting their numbers from who? Hamas. So
true, by the way.
Yeah, so it's like, well, let's just believe all these numbers here. But at the end of the day, let's say you're an innocent person in Gaza. Dude, like, what, you think you just want to hang out in your building while it's about to get bombed? You want to get the fuck out of there. But what do you do? Actually walk me through this. What do you do if Hamas says, no, you're not going anywhere. We'll kill you if you leave. Because Hamas wants dead people. They want dead babies. Why? For propaganda. That's how they get their funding. That's how they get their empathy from around the world. So Israel, whether you love Israel or hate Israel, it's irrelevant. They're stuck in such a tough place where they want to go after terrorists. They don't want to kill. They don't want to kill innocent people. The innocent people should be leaving. They've been warned. Hamas will literally kill their own people if they try to leave. So Israel's just like, it's like a quandary and a conundrum and
a riddle.
It's like, it's so hard to figure out.
I get it.
And by the way, that's a metaphor for exactly what's happening in this region for the last 75 years.
By the way, I get what you're saying. Yeah. You could kill people. You can't kill an idea. He's saying this is a Band-Aid, which is absolutely correct. The only solution to this very, very thin Band-Aid is hopefully at least most of Hamas is eradicated. And I literally have no clue how to go about. We need somewhat of a functioning government in Gaza. It can't be ISIS or Hezbollah or Hamas or PIJ or all the three initials that basically want to just kill Jews.
Well, at the end of the day, the UN needs to come over.
The UN is useless, and
but at least they have an international community that will
bullshit.
At least be,
no, she's right.
Listen, I get about it. They don't care. But I'd rather have the UN running Gaza than Hamas.
The UN found UN employees hiding hostages in Gaza, so they're part of the terrorism problem too.
Yeah, I mean that's a little extreme.
No. It's been shown.
Okay, but
they were in UN teachers' homes being hidden.
I'm not doubting that there's some one-offs with that, but I would rather have an internationally
they'll be
organized,
right.
recognized organization running Gaza rather than a terrorist organization.
Right, of course.
Say what you say about the UN. But at the end of the day, give me a plan. Give me a plan that says this is how we'll have peace, success, GDP for our people. Give me a plan. Because if your plan is just from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, that's not a plan. That's a call for genocide. Give me a business plan. We just did a whole BPW business planning workshop for your plan, planning your next 5 moves. If your next 5 moves is just continuing war and terrorism and destruction and genocide, that's not a game plan for success that the international community will basically get behind. Show me a plan.
Yeah, but Adam,
show me a plan how peace and success will happen.
But and you nailed it. You know why it's so freaking hard? Because if the goal is to eradicate Hamas, there's no way of actually going, okay, they're done. Like with ISIS, we destroyed ISIS. We can't. That's why this is such a shitty situation, because you're like, there's not a checklist. Okay, Hamas is gone. Then that.
So I think the short answer is none of us have the answer.
Yeah,
So isn't it crazy to tell a country what to do after they face their 9/11?
No doubt.
I would say one thing, and we can wrap up and go to the next one. To go to the next story, I'm enjoying this conversation. Listen to you guys. I think the one thing is that we're seeing specifically last 3 years is when America is weak, people get exploited, they get taken advantage of, and one of the things we're not talking about is the benefits of a strong leader running America that gets involved and puts the fear of death upon everybody and says, hey, we're not doing this. You want to do this? We're going to destroy X, Y, Z. And if you cross this line, here's what's going to happen. We're going to bring the right kind of support, not the wishy-washy support. The support that Biden gave was never real support. It was kind of like, well, and this and that and this. It was kind of like worried about election. Like, am I going to get reelected type of a decision he was making, rather than, no, here's what we're going to do. Whether you like it or not, you cross the line. This is not something that we're going to support and accept. We're doing this to you. There's no fear like that coming from America. If this was any other situation, you can even go to George Bush. If this was any other situation, the fear of death was put on the people to say you cannot cross the line. And there's been no feeling like that from America at all. Zero. So there's nobody that fears anybody, and Bully is sitting there saying, this is awesome. You freaking kidding me? It's open game. Let me go take whatever I want. And they're doing what they're doing.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.